Okay, so you all come back. This is the AM show. My name is Benedict Owusu, and we have to do some more sports here. Well, yesterday, the Confederation of African Football Executive Committee ratified the decision or the recommendations by African football experts when they held a two-day symposium in Rabat, that's Morocco. Well, as we've already heard, now we're going to have 24 teams instead of 14 participating in the Africa Cup of Nations, and it's starting in 2019 in Cameroon. And also, it will not be played in January, February, but rather now we're going to play the tournament in June, July, and we are maintaining the 2 years that we play the tournament. You know, initially there was a recommendation that we do it every 4 years, but CAF says we are maintaining that 2 years. So three major things. One is that we're going to have 24 teams instead of the initial 16 that played at the last tournament, and also it's been moved from January, February to June, July, and we're going to play it in a period of 2 years, not 4 years. Well, to do more analysis on this, we are joined on the phone lines by Ni Odate Lamte, former Black Stars player. Sir, thanks so much for joining us this morning here on the AM show. First of all, your reaction to this 24, not 16.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
I think it's not bad, though, but maybe we should give ourselves time. Playing it, I mean, taking it from giving it 24 teams. I think we should make sure maybe not this year, maybe 2019, but maybe after 2019 tournament, we should be able to do that, because I think the time is a bit short. So maybe it's not bad, though, but it's good that maybe we increase the teams. But I think we should give ourselves time for the most of the countries who are going to host the tournament should be able to prepare and prepare very well. Because, you know, even the 16 countries, most of the countries, you know, face a lot of problem when it comes to transportation, hotel, and etc., etc. So I think this is what we have to do, but it's not bad. And to be honest, we're moving the competition from maybe January, February to July, June, July. It's okay, but then we also have to make sure that, you know, the countries that we are going to host, you know, Africa, we have a lot of, you know, different weather. You know, in June, July, when you come to West Africa, it's raining season. And my only concern also that are we going to get the best out of most of the Africans who are playing in European league, that they are on break, that they are coming to rest before the next season, because it will get to that time, maybe most of them are tired, most of them are injured, and then them coming back home to come and relax or rest for next season, now they are coming to play for their nation. Are we going to get the best out of them? So these are the only questions maybe we need to have back to say good decision that they are taking.
And obviously, you've spoken a lot about the date as well as the number of teams. Now, they said that frequency is going to be the same. You know, people were calling for 4 years, 2 years. You think that is intact?
I think the 2 years is okay. I think the 2 years is not bad. You know, the 4 years will be long. I mean, we know we Africans, we love football. So 2 years will be enough. So most of Africa will enjoy, you know, most of football. And then also, you may have a player that maybe you may need him in the team for maybe about 8 years. I mean, coming back to Africa, I'm sure some of the players have played for about 4 competitions, 5 competitions, because the person is very good. But 4 years will maybe take him only maybe 1 tournament or 2 tournaments, and then that's it. So I think the 2 years is a best decision as well.
There's this talk that as Africans, probably maybe the Europeans are dictating to us, because you look at you know, how some of our players and also agents have always been calling that we shift the tournament from January to July. One, they talk about how you sign an African player, and then definitely that in the next 2 years he will be leaving you. So it made it very difficult for, you know, the top major clubs in Europe to sign African players. You go with that assertion that football here on the continent probably maybe is the Europeans that are dictating to us.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think we Africans also have to make sure we take good decision that it will favor us. Because you see, that's what I'm saying. I give you a typical example before that. Yes, maybe somebody like Lukaku just signed for Manchester. I know Manchester is a team that they don't like to sign players because of the African nation. Because in February, the player has to come and play for his team.
Exactly.
So Manchester will miss him. But then we also have to make sure that we are doing something that will benefit us. Because you may come to a tournament and then maybe after 3 matches, you have to go back to your club. Here is the case that maybe a player has come home after a long season, coming home to rest, and then June, July also he's coming to play for his national team. He may get injury, you may not get the best out of the player. So we Africans will be losing, you know. So, well, it's 50-50. I mean, we have to sit down and make sure we take the right decision, not only based on the European calendar, but for the Africans per se.
Thank you very much, Ni Odate Lamte is a former Black Stars player joining us this morning here on the AM show to discuss the increment of teams from 16 to 24, and also you already know that the tournament is going to be held in 2 years. Initially they were calling for 4 years, but that's been scratched by the executive committee of CAF, and we're going to maintain the 2 years and 24 teams, and it's going to be held every 2 years, and it's starting in Cameroon 2019. So we just asking a simple question. Cameroon, are they ready to host 24 teams? Even with the 16 teams, they are struggling, and Morocco, we understand, are trying to see if they can get a tournament to host. Well, the sports minister of Cameroon 2 days ago told the BBC that they are ready to host the tournament. So we've also been speaking to some of our colleagues in Cameroon, and yesterday my colleague Gary Alsmith spoke to Simon Yonga, who is a journalist in Cameroon.
First of all, Gary, it will be difficult to say Cameroon is ready for a 24-nation AFCON. You know, when the right hope, the 2019 AFCON was attributed to Cameroon, it was on the basis of the fact that it was going to be a success. And so the terms of reference held that 4 stadiums to hold the competition alongside, of course, the training facilities, medical, and of course all what you know about the Organization of African Cup of Nations. Yeah. Now it is going to 24. And when we go to 24, it means we are going to have about 6 stadiums, and everything is going to increase by at least 50%. Wow. So on the day of the increase that Cameroon is ready is not very, very evident, Gary. But if you want to look at it from the look of things, I think Cameroon can be ready to host the competition. I say so because, you know, last year we hosted the Women's African Cup of Nations, which we call the AFCON. Yeah. We hosted with two stadiums. Already there are some infrastructure that have been developed out here in Cameroon. For example, we have a that has been constructed in Lime. There is a new stadium that has been constructed in Bafoussam. There is the Amadou Ayo Stadium in Yaoundé that has been completely rehabilitated. So already there are 3 stadiums that are already operational. After away from that, we have 2 stadiums that have been operational, but that needs to be reconstructed. Not reconstructed, but rehabilitated. That is the Reunification Stadium and of course a stadium in Garoua. So if those 2 stadiums, which are already being rehabilitated, come to add to the lot, are going to have 5. All right, Simon, quickly, before we don't have a lot of time. Stadiums that are being constructed, Gary. Yeah. So Cameroon can have 7 stadiums by 2019, Gary. Okay.
So Simon Yonga is a journalist based in Cameroon, and he was speaking to my colleague Gary Smith yesterday after that decision. So 4 key decisions, if you just join us. One is that the tournament is going to have 24 teams instead of the initial 16, and also will be in the period of June, July, not January, February. Also, we are looking at 2 years, every 2 years as we are used to, not 4 years. And it will be played strictly by Africans. So we're not going to invite countries from other continents to come, strictly by Africans, and it's starting in 2019 in Cameroon. And the discussion we've all been having is that, can Cameroon be the country to do that first? Well, already they're having issues hosting the first tournament. That's even with 16 teams, and now we've increased 24, adding 8 more teams. But what's going to happen is that the qualifiers will still go on the way that is going on, and what it means is that more teams will qualify out of the group. So if initially we're going to have 1 team qualify from each group, and also look at the second best placed teams, now it's going to be 2 teams from each group, and probably maybe they will look at the 3rd best placed team in some other groups to make the Africa Cup of Nations qualification. And we'll definitely bring you more on this. Definitely we'll bring in experts so they explain for you to understand it properly. Now we have to do some more, and on the local scene, the Ghana Premier League with 24 games will be played, but obviously Kumasi Asante Kotoko will not be in action this weekend. Remember, after their incident, their match day 23 game with Accra Hearts couldn't happen. And also, this weekend we're supposed to play Wafa. That game is also not going to happen after what happened to them. But the Premier League board expects Asante Kotoko to be ready by week 25. After week 25, if they are not ready, we'll put the league on hold. This is according to Tammy Muisa, who is spokesperson of the Premier League board.
The PLB reviewed the medical report submitted to it by Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And the medical report clearly declared Kotoko medically unfit to play and said that only 6 players could be back on the pitch soon. Even that one, the report did not state when would they be back. What was a bit categorical was the fact that the rest of the players who have been examined would need not less than 2 weeks to return to training and then get back to play. So in view of that, the board decided that week 24 should go ahead this weekend without Asante Kotoko. And then in between week 24 and week 25, there are FA Cup matches. The quarterfinals of the FA Cup will be played. And then the next round of league matches will be week 25, by which time the board hopes Kotoko will be back. If we are to go by the 2 weeks minimum time frame that the medical report gave. So that's what the board is anticipating, that hopefully the players will be medically fit to play in 2 weeks. But if by the 25th week the Kotoko players are still not ready to play, then the board has decided that the entire league will be on hold until a time that Kotoko will be declared medically fit to take part in the league.
So that was Tammy Muisa, spokesperson of the Premier League board. So Kumasi Asante Kotoko now in action this weekend. Their game against Wafa has been postponed, but we've got other matches this weekend in the Ghana Premier League. We'll actually start on Saturday at Elwak Stadium, where we'll have Interlice. They will take on Accra Great Olympics. Olympics haven't lost their last game against Mediama, the Accra Stadium, by 3 goals. We'll be hoping to get something out of this game. But remember, Interlice are in the form of their life, and at the Elwak Stadium, there is no way they will lose. Asante Kotoko went there their last game before that unfortunate incident happened to them. They lost by a goal to 0. Also, we'll have Liberty Professionals Ashanti Gold. It's happening in Dansuman. Big one for Ashanti Gold. The coach, that's CK Akono. And Liberty, things not going well for Liberty. So Michael Osei and his charges will be hoping to get a good result to see if they will stay in the Premier League. But if they lose that game, it will be very dangerous for Liberty Professionals. They'll have Omina Sharks at Bichim United at the Indum Park. Bolga All-Stars become Chelsea. Will be at the Tamale Stadium. And also we'll have Accra Hearts of Folk Tema Youth at the Accra Stadium. That's where we're going to bring you the Ghana Premier League live service. Will be on this Sunday from the Accra Sports Stadium, where Accra Hearts of Folk will take on Tema Youth. Then Mediama SC Diana Stars is also happening. The Buson Dwarfs, Wa All Stars is the other game. So the only game not happening this weekend is the Kumasi Asante Kotoko and League Leaders Wafa's game. So we'll check the Premier League table before we move on to other stories on your screen. Now Wafa are still leading with 43 points. Indiana also second with 43 points. And we have Accra Hearts of Folk. They are third with 36 points. Kumasi Asante Kotoko fourth, 35. Just the points between Kotoko and Hearts. Mediama, they have 34 points, and Bichim United sit with 32 points. So the other half of the table, Interlice are 7th with 32 points, and also Dwarfs are 8th with 31, Wild Stars 9th with 31, Chelsea 10th with 30 points, Omina Sharks are 11th, they have 30 points, and Tema Youth are 12th with 28 points. So the last 4 teams, the Liberty Professionals are 14th, they have 26 points, and Olympics are 15th with 23. Bolga All Stars already relegated, just 12 points after match day 23. So Ashanti Gold 13th with 28. So Ashanti Gold must win their game against Liberty, or they will drop to the relegation zone, and they have a game in hand against League Leaders Wafa. Now, to other stories still here on the local scene, and the Ghana Football Association has dismissed media reports suggesting they have failed to properly account for monies from their sponsorship with Puma. Now, an Accra-based radio station, that's at Tinkar FM, yesterday reported that the Football Association receives a staggering amount of 900,000 euros annually for the Puma kit deal, but details of the agreement have remained a top secret even to bigwigs of the association. But the GFA has issued a strong-worded statement denying those reports, and I have more in the report. The GFA wishes to state that the claims by the reports are maliciously false, calculated to cause damage to the reputation of the GFA and Mr. Nyantichi. According to the statement, the GFA's contract with Puma is not the preserve of the president of the federation alone. The contract is thoroughly discussed by the executive committee with minutes of such meetings available. The financial gains from our contract with Puma are paid directly into the accounts of the GFA and captured in our annual audited accounts. The audited accounts are also made available to our members at Congress. All funds from Puma and indeed all our sponsors are received directly by the GFA through our accounts and properly accounted for, as can be seen in our audited accounts by the Auditor General of Ghana. They add that they will pursue legal action over the reputational damage suffered by the Federation and its president over the reports. So on that note, we end sports this morning here on the AM Show. Definitely will bring you highlights of matches that were played in the preseason. And Willan Walker, your team Chelsea. Now you've got Alvaro Morata. Well, good for you. Always, players have been serving Chelsea. Finally, they get Alvaro Morata, and Willan is excited about that. So he can't wait for the start of the new English Premier League season. Well, yesterday we had the very first Manchester derby outside England. It was played in the US. And Manchester United defeated Manchester City by 2-1, and Lukaku got the second goal for United. I'm Benedict Owusu. You can read more sports stories on my JoyNews Sports page, and keep following us. On Twitter, you can get us at Joy Sports. On Facebook, it's at Joy Sports. Have a wonderful day.